guys, you're listening to ChickFlicks with me, your host, Alexis Otang. I'm the chick who rates flicks and TV shows and tells you whether they're worth a binge or a skip. Today's episode, guys, is going to be on the highly anticipated opening of Phase 5 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Ant-Man and the Wasp Qunatumania. So I'm really excited to review this movie for you guys. This was actually like the first time that I've had to go see a movie and I didn't have a friend who could come with me. So like I went to the theater by myself. Out of all the episodes I've filmed for ChickFlicks, I've always gone and seen the movie with my friend. It's usually Allie, but sometimes I go see movies with my family, like those occasional times that my family actually wants to see a movie that I'm going to have to review. We go and see it. But yeah, ever since the beginning of this podcast, this show, I've never gone to the movie theater by myself just to watch a movie. I've always either seen it with like friends and families prior, or I went with my friend Allie, who she's probably listening to this, and we went, watched the movie, talked about it, and then I came on here to review it. So it was my first time watching a movie by myself in the theater, like going, and low-key, I honestly didn't feel like awkward. I didn't feel bad about it. I was like, yeah, it was fun, but it's also work for me. So I kind of just went in like, there's a lot of people in the world who go and watch movies by themselves. Highly recommend it. You get to buy a whole popcorn bucket for yourself, drink for yourself, enjoy the movie, and then leave. Quick, easy. You don't have to worry about talking to the person throughout the movie. It's actually pretty fun. Would recommend to do it again. And I'm probably going to have to do it a couple of times throughout the year because my friends are busy here at college. And my friend Allie, who I usually go see the movie with, lives back home in Orlando. So I'm going to be watching a couple movies by myself. But let's get into Ant-Man. Now, this movie, like I said, it's highly anticipated because it is the opening film of Phase 5. We just finished Phase 4, which there was a lot of mixed reviews from MCU diehard fans, MCU like I would like say like fans who just go and watch it because it comes out, which I would declare myself one of those, and just the public in general. It was just like some people really loved it. They thought the movies were great. Some people were like, it doesn't compare to the last phases of movie. Nothing is ever going to beat the Endgame trilogy of movies. And I personally feel like Phase 4 had a hard job to do because how do you compete with Phase 3 that we just came out of? And also, not only do you have to compete with that, you have to set up a whole new arc for these movies, for this universe. So they had a really big job to do. And I think like they did a pretty good job. I would give it a solid 7. There were some films that I think were like ballpark 10s. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I personally feel like No Way Home was a top 10 MCU film. And I feel like Shang-Chi and Eternals were like 8s, 9s. I know some people are going to argue with me. I feel like the movie for me that was like, okay. I didn't see it, but I like heard from reviews. I haven't seen it fully through. Like I know since the last time I tried to sit down and watch it, preparing for Multiverse. I tried to watch like the couple last films from the MCUs, not Multiverse, for Quantumania, but honestly, I couldn't get through it. So Thor: Love and Thunder would be the last ranked movie for Phase 4 for me. I thought Black Widow was good too. But yeah, and I thought Multiverse of Madness was confusing, but that's okay. It's better than Thor: Love and Thunder. So I personally feel like Phase 4 gets like a 7, possibly a 7.5. I'd have to rewatch a couple of these movies again to like give it that 8. But yeah, I personally feel like it did the best job it could to set up the next incoming phases and also compete with Phase 3, as well as like introduce us to all these new storylines that we're gonna have to follow for the next couple of movies. So I was really excited for Phase 5 opening with Ant-Man and the Wasp. I talked about this in my last episode where I did my February like new movies you need to watch. And so I was very excited to see this movie. And like I said, this is the first time that an Ant-Man movie has like been a big opener or like a big closer. It usually, like the director has stated before, is like a palate cleanser after a big team up movie. But the last movie to release was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So coming out of that big release, it's very hard. I feel like it's still in that awkward like coming out because Black Panther Wakanda Forever was so amazing. So it had a lot to deliver to give us that same standard. And did it deliver? Continue watching. This is your spoiler warning for now. But yeah, you know, if you haven't seen the film, you might want to go watch it first before you come see this review. Or if you're like, hey, I don't care if it gets spoiled. I want to know if this is worth my time. Keep watching. Keep listening. Wherever you're listening or watching on. So, like I was saying, the director has stated before that Ant-Man has always been like a palate cleanser in between the big team Avenger movies, or it's always having to come behind a film that was like highly anticipated. And I think this year it's different because it's now opening the MCU. So it's one of those big establishing films, but it's coming out of the gate after, it's coming right after Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So the stakes are high. In this film, quick summary, Ant-Man and the Wasp find themselves exploring the quantum realm, interacting with strange new creatures, and embarking on an adventure where they come face to face with their biggest threat thus far. So Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, had a big job of also introducing us to our next Thanos, which would be Kang. And honestly, like, I was really excited to see how they were going to be able to create a next level threat, because Thanos was one of the hardest supervillains that they had to face. And obviously they lost the first time they went against him. Took them having to time travel, get the time stones back, all these stones back, and doing it again. And the biggest Avenger ever, Iron Man, had to sacrifice himself. So how do you like set in a new supervillain that's going to be an even bigger threat than that? You do it by introducing the concept of the multiverse. And Kang was probably their best decision going forward to like have a big villain, because there's so much that they can do with him. With the introduction of the multiverse, we now have variants of Kang. It's not just one version that they have to face. There's probably multiple that they're going to have to end up defeating throughout the course of these phases. And so I'm really excited. So as you already know, this is the third Ant-Man film, so a lot of the cast is returning. Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyke. We have Jonathan Majors, who's playing Kang. And next month, in March, he's also going to be playing another antagonist in Creed 3, which is probably going to be on my March watch list episode. So look out for that. We also have Catherine Newton, who's playing Cassie Lang. Now note, she is not the original Cassie Lang. She's not the one we saw in Endgame. They casted a new actress. I'm not sure why. Probably because going into, maybe that girl just didn't have the commitment, because they're setting up Cassie Lang to be a part of the Young Avengers or the New Avengers. So this is a role that Catherine Newton is probably going to be playing for a while now. So maybe the former actress just didn't have the time commitment. It didn't fit into her scheduling, or she didn't want to do it. Who knows? We also have Bill Murray in this movie, as long as Michelle Pfeiffer, William Jackson Harper, and Corey Stoll, who is a familiar face to the Ant-Man series, but we'll get back to that. And like I said, this movie has a lot that it's aiming to do, establishing our antagonists for the rest of the phase, as well as setting up one of the arcs of the Young Avengers. Cassie Lang is going to be there with Billy and Tommy Maximoff, as we are theorizing Miss Marvel. I can't remember what Haley Steinfeld's character is, but she plays the like sidekick in Hawkeye, the TV show, the TV series on Disney Plus. Her character is also going to be in the Young Avengers, and America Chavez, I'm pretty sure. There's a lot of people who are going to be in this Young Avengers, but Quantumania is going to be, I don't know why I keep calling it multiverse. Quantumania is going to be setting up Cassie's arc for hopefully filling in the role of the new Ant-Man / Wasp as Stature. That's supposedly her superhero's name in the comic, Stature. So I can't wait to see how that plays out. But let's start talking about the film itself. The visuals on this movie, I think they did a great job. It's really hard doing a world that is completely made with CGI. Some past Marvel movies aren't really great with CGI. There have been a lot of arguments. I'm pretty sure like Thor not Ragnarok, y'all were about to come for me, Thor Dark World. The CGI in there is not the best. It's not that great. So a lot of people were worried how they're going to build a whole entire world, make it look good, make it look lifelike, are they going to be able to pull it off like James Cameron just did with Avatar: The Way of the Water, which was also filmed underwater with CGI. So that was like hard enough. And they made everything in that film look realistic. And I think Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania did an amazing job. I feel like the world was super immersive. It looked great. I don't feel like it in any way was complicated or looked bad. Like, to me, everything was stunning. They did a great job, even with the added factors of making Scott Lang big, the Wasp small, all those factors. Like, I think they did a great job. The characters, they blend the human characters well with the completely CGI characters. So visually, I think this film is really great. I'd put it up there with Eternals. For me, is one of the most beautiful cinematic films of the MCU. And it's probably because it's directed by Chloe Zhao. But I think the director, Peyton Reed, did a great job with Quantumania. It looks really good. And it really is subversive. And this was a hard concept. We are talking about a world that is beneath our world, but it's so tiny that you would never be able to see it with the human eye, with a microscope. You would have to go literally into atoms and particles, be able to see it. And so that's a very tough ask to pull off. And I think they did it well. Going on to the characters, I have to say some of the standout characters in this movie for me had to be Jonathan Majors' Kang. And I think part of the reason why his character was so well is because Jonathan Majors is such a great actor, but because they decided to have his character not have any bits of like comedic, like I guess timing, comedic relief. And that's something that they do a lot with Marvel villains, is that they'll sometimes be like, have moments of seriousness and then they'll have like a comedic moment. And it's like, how are they doing that right now when everything's supposed to be serious? But every scene that involved Kang had a serious, dramatic tone. And I think that fit well because he's not playing around. This man has a plan. This man has a job that he's trying to get done. He's not here to kid around. And I think that played much to their advantage. It really did balance all the comedy, because Ant-Man is one of those films that is a little bit more lighthearted. You're going to have those comedic moments. You're going to have those like hilarious, funny timing, warm-hearted moments. And I think they were able to balance that well with the dramatic, with the tense-filled, action-packed moments. And sometimes, like we've seen some films, when they try to do that comedy side and do the drama, it tears through, it destroys like what they've built. Thor Ragnarok did it well. Thor Love and Thunder did not. So I'm really glad they were able to find a great balance. And I think it's probably because they had Jonathan Majors' Kang just be like serious the whole time. And when he's in that scene, you know shit is about to go down. They also have another antagonist in this film, MODOK, who is played by Corey Stoll, who we have seen in the Ant-Man series. Prior to this, he was Darren. He was the, Wasp that literally came into young Cassie's bedroom trying to attack and kidnap her. And so we find out that when he was zapped and made small, he didn't die. He actually was transferred to the quantum realm, and Kang found him and made him into MODOK, a machine only for destruction or killing. Made only for destruction and killing. I can't remember what the acronym is for, but it's something like that. He was definitely the comedic relief character. And my only problem with his character is that out of nowhere, they kind of have him shift and do this like turnaround where he's now like wants to be a good guy. And I can't take the moment serious in any way, shape, or form, because you can tell it's a little bit of a bit the whole time. It's literally like a comedic bit. And he dies, and I kind of feel like there was no point in bringing him back if he was literally just going to be here for this movie and then die as quickly as we saw him came. And then you throw in there like a whole arc from being bad to good. Like, it was just a little too much. I felt like personally it would have been better if his character was just evil and not even a little bit of comedic relief, just straight up evil. Like, I felt like it was a little bit, that was one of my problems with the film, if I had to critique it. I just feel like MODOK's was kind of like a comedic bit they were trying to do that, to me, made no sense. I don't think it really went well. There was some funny moments with him, but I felt like it was being dragged out, and then it came to an end with him dying. And I just personally felt like if y'all were always going to kill him off, there was no reason to, like, have him turn around and want to be good all of a sudden. Like, if it was that easy to turn him good, why didn't just young Cassie tell him the same thing she was telling him now when he came into her room back in, like, Ant-Man? Like, why not just be like, just don't be a dick? It should have worked then, right? Why is it working now? That, I don't know. That's just my problem. But yeah, another critique that I would say is I think that the movie's pacing was a little bit off because we got so much in that third act. I personally feel like they should have sped it up, and some of that third act should have been more in the second act. What I'm specifically talking about is when Scott goes into the core. Basically, the reason why Kang is stuck in the quantum realm is that Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Jan Van Dyke, when she was stuck there, she met Kang after he was banished and exiled here. And so she helped him build his, I don't want to say it was a time machine, but his spaceship that could help him travel to different dimensions and would be her escape route out of the quantum world to go back to her daughter, Jane. She helped him build it. But when she was putting in the last final piece, which was recharging his core of his, like, it's like a little core, it's a ball that, basically helps power the ship. When she touched it, she saw all the destruction Kang has done, all of the evil he has enacted throughout the universe. And she realized that she wasn't helping a good person. She was basically helping a monster. And so after that, she decided she would rather sacrifice never being able to go back to her daughter than letting him out. So she blew up the core so big that he wouldn't be able to put it into his time machine. And now he needed somebody who has the ability to shrink themselves to get into that core and basically bring it down to small size. And so when Cassie is, playing around, messing with the quantum realm, creates this device that sucks them in, Kang's first instinct is to find Scott and force him, or Scott or Jane, and get them to put the core back into its small, sizable, original form so he can leave the dimension. And so he captures Scott and Cassie, and he forces him to go in because he threatens to kill his daughter. And the way this man was talking, this isn't like one of those threats like, I will kill your kid. Like, he was going to straight up murder Cassie. Tell you right now, that man is not playing. Kang is one of those antagonists he's like on Namor mode. Honestly, I felt like he should have pulled a Namor and just killed Cassie right then and there and be like, I ain't playing. But, or at least like the grandpa. Sorry. But he was literally forcing Scott to do this for him. And that whole scene where Scott goes into the core and he starts like seeing multiple versions of himself. It's like the core puts you in this realm of possibility. So you see all these possible versions of yourself. And I felt like this whole scene felt like a final act, but it wasn't. There was still more to come. And that was my problem with it, that the way that they like filmed it and they built the tension and the atmosphere and the mood, built it up to be like, this is the final act. And like, after he gets the core sizable, he's not gonna give it back, and he's just gonna start fighting Kang, and that's gonna be the climactic end. There was like a lot of stuff that we had to get through after that. And I just feel like how they built it, how they wrote it, it made it feel like it should have been a final act rather than like part one of the third and final act. Another thing that left me a little weird was the ending. Low key, like, I couldn't tell what they were trying to do with the ending. It kind of felt like, okay, we destroyed Kang, we got to the end now, like, how do we want to end this? Do we want to end this on paranoia and like, oh, there's more coming? Or do we want to end it on a happy ending? And they were like, let's just do both. And you can't do both. let's first start off with the fact that I thought that the Wasp and Ant-Man got stuck in the quantum realm. Because Scott literally says while they're fighting, I don't need to win. We just both need to lose. So I thought when he destroyed that core, it meant, boom, the Wasp and Ant-Man, because Hope comes back after they open a portal. Cassie gets out, Jane and I can't remember what her husband's name is, but he gets out as well. I literally thought, oh my God, they're now stuck in the quantum realm. Like they sacrificed themselves and being with their family to save the quantum realm and Earth. And then Cassie just does a quick, let me get into the mainframe, shift, find them, locate them, open that up, boom. I brought back my my dad and his girlfriend. I was like, what? Like, then what was the point of we just both have to lose? I felt like that should have just been written in. Like I literally thought, like when they were hugging and looking over the rest of the quantum realm, that, oh wow, they're stuck here, which would have been like low key, like, dang, they're not playing with this. I don't mind that they got out. I think honestly, that was probably the best thing. I just don't get how then that's him losing. He won. Why did he say that? That's like something that irked me a bit, and I was like, that confused me. But also, in this ending, like, we see Scott walking through, basically doing the same opening, but in the closing. So he's walking through the street being like, my life's weird, everything's great, visits that coffee shop once again like he did in the beginning, yada, yada, yada. And then he gets hit with a strange paranoia where he's like, is everything all right? Like, what if this isn't the end? Like, he said there'd be more of him. And he's like, no, we destroyed him, whatever. And it keeps doing this shift of paranoia to everything's right, we have our happy ending. And I wish they would have picked one. And I feel like, personally, they should have just gone with the paranoia, or with Scott knowing, like, everything's good for now, but there's definitely more coming. Because Kang himself said that there are a lot of him that he needs to destroy if this universe is going to be okay. Which then I don't get why they were trying to destroy him. Do you see? There's just some discrepancies with the plot that I'm not sure I understand. And I don't know if I was just not paying attention, or it's just, again, they're establishing storylines that they're going to build on further. Because I don't know if I'm like wigging out, but I'm pretty sure he said, I am your only hope to saving your universe. I might be bad, but trust me, there's a lot of other bad guys that are versions of me that are worse. And he's right, because in our post-credit scene, we see that the Council of Kangs, and we see that there is a bunch of them, and we get introduced to 3, Ramata, Kang, who that is the main foe of the Fantastic Four. So with Kang entering the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we are getting the Fantastic Four, and we're possibly also, I know for a fact we're getting the X-Men because of Deadpool 3 and the fact that Hugh Jackman is going to be reprising his role. We're getting and we also saw Professor X and John Krasinski in Multiverse of Madness as Mr. Fantastic. So I know we're getting them, but like this is also confirmation that that is coming. But yeah, I didn't get then like why they might have not like stopped to be like, what do you mean? Like nobody wanted to explain in this film what they meant. Like Jane was dragging out what she was hiding from her family for a while. And I was like, girl, just spit it out. Like, it's not that bad. You thought you were helping somebody who was lost like you, and turns out he was bad. And you did the right thing. You stopped him, and what did he do? He made an empire out of his prison. True. But hey, you did the best you could. It's not like you could kill him. You don't got powers. She was out here dragging it like, just trust me. And I'm like, what? You want her to trust you? Tell her. Why are you keeping it like it's a big bad secret? It's not. Like, everybody in this universe knows what you did. Might as well tell your family. That's personally how I felt. Like, I felt like they were dragging out that storyline, trying to be mysterious. Like, Mom, what did you do? What were you doing here? It was like, just spit it out. It's not that big of a deal. Personally, I felt like they were being a little dramatic about that. But yeah, I know I just put a lot of critiques in this like review, but honestly, once you get past that, the movie itself is really good. The comedic parts are funny. There's a lot of funny things in this movie. There's a lot of serious tone in this movie. I think Kang carries this movie, but it's probably because Jonathan Majors is just such a great actor, and he has such a great like role and a take on this character that it just blows a lot of them out the water. But it's not like they were doing so bad that it was easy for him to catch up. They were all doing great, but he was doing phenomenal. You know what I mean? But yeah, I do think this is a great way to open up Phase 5. And compared to the last opening film, I thought Black Widow was good. But of course, it was a prequel. It was an origin story for a character who's already dead. So yes, it did set up Yelena and her arc. But momentarily, it was kind of giving Scarlett Johansson and Natasha Romanoff and I say Natasha Romanoff. I don't know if that's her last name. Yes, it is. Natasha and Black Widow character the flowers they deserved with their own movie, because every other Avenger got their own movie except for her, as I'm sure. Or they got a movie where it played a very big part and she never got her own solo film. And so after they killed off the character, they were like, yeah, this is the time to do it now. Was a pretty good film, but again, there wasn't a lot it could do to set up the rest of the phase because she was already dead. I think this film, though, does a great job at opening up Phase 5, and I'm excited. I think the next film that is to come out is Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and you know everybody and their mom is excited. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of Marvel's like trilogy solo films, solo superhero films, that every single film has been great, as well as Spider-Man. Spider-Man's has been good. Iron Man had a bad one. Thor had a bad one. I guess Captain America didn't have a bad one, depending on how you feel. But yeah, I'm excited for that. We also got the Marvels, which I already know some of y'all MCU fans who are a bit bigoted and misogynistic are going to tear it down, even if it's good, because it has 3 female protagonists, not 1, not 2, but we have 3, and 2 of them are minorities. But y'all hated Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, and she's a white woman, so who doesn't even matter if they could be all white and y'all would still hate it. It's the fact that they're all women. Let's leave it down on the table. It's because they're all women. But I'm really excited for that. And then the last film I'm really excited for from Phase 5 is Deadpool 3. I love Ryan Reynolds. I love Deadpool. I love Hugh Jackman, and I love Wolverine. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, guys, is Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania ChickFlicks approved? It definitely is. I say go watch it. If you're an MCU fan, you're going to need to watch this film. You're going to have to stay. There's 2 post-credit scenes. So yes, you're going to have to sit through that long-ass credits. That black screen with white credits. Yes, you have to sit there to the freaking end if you want, because there is a final scene in there that kind of throws back to Loki and also like establishes something that's going on in the future. So there's 2. So if you see one and you think, oh, we're done. No, baby, keep sitting. There's a little bit more you have to get through. But yeah, definitely go watch it and watch it by yourself at that, because I did it. And I'm telling you, watching movies by yourself is not that bad. It's actually pretty fun. And yeah, guys, that's it. Let's go for my outro. If you would like to follow me on my socials, you can follow my public profile at Alexis Otang. You can also follow my podcast's Instagram at The ChickFlicks Show. I'm on TikTok at Simply Alexis and at The ChickFlicks Show. And yeah, make sure you follow my platforms. Not my platform. Why did I say platforms? Well, make sure you follow FAU OwlRadio and FAU Owl TV, because I'm an official show of these amazing 2 organizations. And yeah, guys, that's it. This is Alexis signing off at ChickFlicks. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you later. Bye.